Hey, Scott, thanks again for taking the time out of your schedule. The question I wanted to pose to you
Hmm.
is on the question of partnerships. That
Mm.
seems to come up a lot. We do a lot of case studies in the trainings
Mhm.
myself. And so could you help clarify a couple of the different angles and how somebody who's not yet a part of our community, how they
Mhm.
can make a foray into being a partner?
Hmm. Yeah. So there's multiple ways to even look at what a partner is. When people are looking to work with us or even underneath us, that can mean a lot of things. We do have our self storage academies. I used to speak quite a bit around the country. COVID has changed that, and also just my schedule with just investing and what we're doing right now on that side of the business and the syndication side. I don't get to be out amongst everybody as much anymore. But you're right. A lot of folks want to know, say, if I learn about the business, if I stumble across a deal, can I bring it to you, and what does that look like? Well, if you stumble across a deal, chances are you won't know it's a deal. You may have stumbled across a facility that may be for sale, but you don't know it's a deal until you get educated and learn how to underwrite and evaluate it. So there are an awful lot of folks that want to say, hey, I found a mom and pop deal, or I got a friend that's going to sell the facility. I don't want to buy it, or maybe we want to partner. So can I just send it to you and have you look at it and evaluate it and determine if it's a deal? And then if it is, then you fund it and you close it and manage it, and I get 50% of the project.
Hmm. That
and
sounds like a great deal for the other person.
Yeah, for them. Yeah. And so, and I'm saying that facetiously, although I'm sure we've had some folks that have, actually made that request. But I get it. At the end of the day, we're educating our folks that even aren't taking education from us. They see our name out there, our business. We've been out there for a while. We do partner with folks and we do syndications. And so, it looks like we'll take and work with anybody and everybody. Well, first of all, there has to be a deal in there somewhere. There has to be a project that works. And so if somebody happens to find a project, well, they can't just blindly, reach out to us and there's a funnel that, gets these things. They, pop out a chute and land on my desk. And then I say yes or no, and then call them up. They have to understand what it looks like to underwrite a deal. And there's education that has to go into it. They have to be somewhat of a savvy underwriter and to be able to put a value on this. And then also they have to understand what they're asking for, because many times they may have an opportunity. And as you know, Roel, they don't even know what to do with it. Even if it is a deal, they're just like, well, I don't really know what to ask for, Scott. Can you tell me what I should be asking for? I said,
Hmm.
well, what do you want to do? Do you want to own this thing, or are you looking for a wholesale fee? And if so, how much are you looking for? So we tell our folks, you need to understand the deal and come to us with a proposal. Here's what I have found. Here's the underwriting. Here's what the project looks like right now. Here's why it's undervalued, and here's what the value is in the future if you do this, this, and this to it. And I want a fee, a wholesale fee. Or, you know what, I happen to live in this market. I'm in the storage business, or I want to get into the storage business. And here's what I bring to the table. I got a solid balance sheet. I got a solid credit score, and I've got some cash. So I'm willing to come in and do that. And I've got banking relationships. What I need from you, Scott, is your experience. I need you to, be somewhere as part of this organization, the LLC, meaning the operating agreement, so that the bank will take me seriously and I'll be able to get this loan. And for that, I'm willing to exchange this percentage of the deal. And it would be great if you could also bring in some of this money, either your own or private equity, just depends. So I could, we could start real well, but by saying, and you know this, that, here's a deal, and we've got, we're starting at this end here, and, here's the resources that we have available. So when somebody comes to us with a project, they say, well, here's what I bring. I bring that lending. I've got some cash. I've got this, and this. But here's what I need from you, Scott, is just a little bit. And so that partnership where, they're doing most of it, they're here, and I'm just, over here and taking a little piece of this and maybe a little bit of money, that's great. There could also be the one end where, in the middle, which is we're both bringing our balance sheet. We're going to sign on the loan. We're both bringing equal amount of money. I'm going to do the negotiation and the acquisition. You're going to do the due diligence. And then the operation side will be a property management company, or you're going to oversee that. I'm going to oversee that. I'll oversee the development of the additional units, when we're meeting right in the middle. Or there's the person that does come to us and say, well, I found this deal. And maybe it is a deal. It's been underwritten, or they just, a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while, and it happens to be a good deal. But they have no credit. They have no capital to put into it. They have no experience. They live 2 states away. They can't do due diligence or manage the management company. And, but they want to be in for 50%. And in that case, we'll just have to educate them and say, well, yeah, you're really a bird dog. You're really a wholesaler. And so you don't in a very polite, tactful way, but you don't bring much to the table to stay in the deal and reap all the benefits when we close this, because you aren't able to pull any of those levers or bring anything to make it happen. So would you be happy with a fee? And in some very rare instances, they may get 1% of a deal or a small percent to stay in, just so that they can build some credibility. And that's on the rare occasion, but usually it's a wholesale fee. But then we show them and we teach them what it's like to wholesale these projects. But even on that end, that it really takes folks working with us. I'm sure, Roel, as I'm sitting here, that we've missed out on probably millions of dollars worth of deals because somebody brought, what was, they found a deal, and they give us the proverbial shoebox electronically full of, receipts and reports and what have you. And it would take us, hours or days to be able to analyze, this project. And they haven't told us what they want. And say, well, see what you think. And then, we'll decide what kind of partnership we're looking at. We just don't have time for that. So in that instance, we tell these folks, here's what you need to do. If you're willing to get educated and you're looking to us to be a pipeline of buyers for your deal, your wholesale deals, here's what you need to do. We will show you, we will give you access to our software. By access, meaning here's our software. If you want to pay for it, we'll teach you how to analyze these facilities, and the software will help you along the way, so that when you have a project, you submit that project on our software, our underwriting software, so that our underwriters can then take a look at this and they know the 5 areas to look at, before it goes on to the next step to say, yep, it looks like we got a deal here. And a little narrative that we train people how to, write up that says, here's what the value add is in this, and here's what I'm looking for. And as long as it ticks those boxes, we have a system to be able to accept those, analyze them, and then get back with that person, and then either buy it from them as a wholesale deal or partner with them, doing some type of joint venture. So a long-winded answer to your question, and there's 100 more steps in that, or ways to look at that. But to just say that, it depends upon the deal, and it depends upon the resources that person has at their disposal versus the resources they need from us. And then that'll dictate what type of a partnership, if any partnership at all, exists. And there are some cases too, and you've seen this for a while, where they come in and they've got a fantastic project. And it is a deal, and they've got the cash, they got the capital, and all they need is a little bit of education. And they come to our academies, they get some mentoring, some coaching, and they're off to the races, and they're doing it on their own, and they don't need me. So we tell them, hey, be a little bit, greedy here, or a little bit selfish in a good way, and just say, we're happy that you're willing to give up a piece of this to have us come alongside of you, but you've got 90% of this. We'll get you the rest of the way there with the 10% with our education, our standard operating procedures, and we'll come in as an insurance policy to make sure that you don't mess it up.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, because instead of just being tunnel vision, some people just say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I don't have a lot of capital and I'm just getting
Mm-hmm.
started, so I just want to wholesale. I don't necessarily want to own it. Let me just send you a listing that I think would
Yeah.
work.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously between you and me. I mean, that's not enough. How
Mm-hmm.
far along would
Mm-hmm.
you want ideally the deal to be brought? Like, do you want
Yeah.
it to be under contract yet? How much of an analysis of the deal would you want it to be at before
Mm-hmm.
before they bring it to you? Can you clarify on that a little bit?
Yeah. So most of these projects, that they come to us, they're not going to be listed. So these wholesalers, they found it on their own from their own marketing efforts. They're sending out direct mailers. They're talking with the owners, and they've sourced a deal from somewhere. And so they typically have it under contract. We can't really do anything with a project that isn't under contract, and we can't pay them a fee if they don't have control of it. So they should have it under contract, and they have done their underwriting, and they have a narrative on it, and they can once again provide a package to us that shows us, here's the path to profitability, and here's why you want this, Scott. So it should, since they found it on their own, they need to be creating and putting together their own offering memorandum, just like you would see from a commercial self-storage broker. It has a complete package of financials and talks about the market, talks about the history of it, shows reports, trends, speaks to what the value used to be, if it used to be higher, and where it can come back to. Or, hey, there's an extra acre in the back, you can build a X number of square feet in the back, it's already zoned, and once you do that and you fill it up at the rates in the market, your NOI should be here in 3 years. and at an exit rate or an exit cap rate of around 7.5%, here's what you should be able to net. So your overall return is this. That's the level that we're looking for. Make it easy for us. You need to not sell the sizzle, because sizzle sounds like you're making things up, but it's one thing to just produce a project and says, well, okay, tell me why I should like this. And then, well, that's up for you to figure out, Scott. Well, I don't have time to figure that out. I can do that on my own. I don't have to split anything or pay a fee to you to do that. But if you want a wholesaler fee, show me how I'm going to make money on it, and I'll pay you in exchange for taking it and doing that, or doing it with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that thing that comes to mind is a stark contrast between I guess we're getting that kind of question are from people who are traditionally wholesaling residential single family homes,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
where it's enough to just be able to get it under contract at a discount
Yeah.
and then be able to wholesale it fairly quickly. In
Mm-hmm,
fact, I've seen a couple of storage facilities being marketed in a very similar way. But from what
mm-hmm,
you're telling me is it's almost like the people who are buyers of self-storage facilities are a little bit not spoiled, but in a position where they can say, you know what, I'm not going to
mm-hmm,
do all the heavy lifting for you.
mm-hmm,
If you want your fee as a wholesaler of a storage facility, you kind of do have to do a little bit more of the lifting to
mm-hmm,
get it to a point, because I'm not going to
mm-hmm.
do the underwriting for you, right?
Right. Right.
So,
You're exactly right. That's, otherwise, well, I'm probably going to sit on it and do nothing at all. Or you could go through and go through the brain damage and spend lots of hours to find out that it's not a deal, or to do all of that to find out it is a deal. And for then the wholesaler to then say, all right, well, I want 50%, or I want $100,000 as a fee. And you say, well, that doesn't make sense and that doesn't work, and I'm not willing to pay that since I did all the work. And then you've done it for nothing if you can't come to an agreement on how you partner or what type of a fee to provide to that person. So, if you're going to be a wholesaler, you really should treat it like a business, and have that understanding up front, and treat it as a business, and put together a professional package, and tell exactly what it is that you want, and tell that story to the potential buyer of that, and then have your schedule set. So you should be able to rattle that off so that somebody knows, what they're looking at and who they're dealing with and what they're dealing with before they go through, all the analysis that's done from what you've put together already.
so what I'm hearing from you is if I could ask you, like, kind of point blank, in summary, could you contrast the differences between residential wholesaling
Mhm.
and commercial real estate wholesaling?
Yeah, pretty simple on the residential side. Here's where we're buying it. We went out and we had our estimator, or I, as a wholesaler, went out and did an estimate that it's $35,000 for the house. It's going to take 15 to get it ready to operate as a rental, 25 if you're going to wholesale this, or retail it to somebody else. And the after repaired value, here's the comps in the neighborhood. I've attached 3 of them to this project. Shows it's going to be worth 80, and I'm looking for $5, $7, $8,000 for this, to present this to you. So you've kind of written that up. That shows them, here's where it's at. It's less than anything else in the market. Here's what it's going to take to rehab it. Here's the construction schedule, what it's going to take to do that, and then here's where you should sell it at, and here's roughly your spread. I just want this piece of it, this much of it, in exchange for that. In the self-storage scenario, if it's an existing facility, then yeah, you're going to have the underwriting on it already. You're going to have the management reports show the occupancy and the rental rates at the facility currently, and the unit mix. And then you're going to show, in contrast to that, what is the rental rates, the market rental rates in the market for the competitors. What's their occupancy, and what are the value adds in terms of net operating income that you can add to this facility, meaning more income streams coming in, selling insurance, locks, boxes, moving supplies, things of that nature that they're not doing. And then how can you reduce expenses, if possible, by lowering the insurance, by adding technology and a website where people can rent from the website, or a kiosk to reduce the payroll at the site level, and any other efficiencies or economies of scale that you can get from an expense standpoint to lower that. And then if you exit in 2 or 3 years at a market capitalization rate, here's what you should be able to sell it for. And so here's the spread. Here's the amount of money that I'm asking for to present this deal to you. So similar, just the path and the way to get there is a little bit different, and there's a few more steps on the commercial real estate side.
So it's not quite a residential quick turn type of real estate deal.
Not at
There's
all.
quite a
Yep.
bit more involved.
Yep. Yep.
Now,
Absolutely.
last thing I want to ask you is
Mhm.
on that note, what would be kind of I guess the incentive for somebody to say, okay, I've got a pretty good wholesale. I know we do actually have some students in our community
Yeah.
who
Hmm.
have come from the residential wholesaling side, and
Hmm.
they've made a good, really good transition.
Hmm.
For somebody new who says, oh, okay, I've wholesaled a few deals. What's my incentive? What's the payout? Could you
Hmm.
comment a little bit on the contrast in potential
Yeah.
payouts?
Well, if you understand that, and if you're a good wholesaler on the single family side, and you got a list of buyers, you know what they're looking for, and they're looking for the returns. If you know how to, again, sell the sizzle, but show them, in terms of numbers, and you're making 7-10 grand a pop on wholesaling, depending on what that looks like, or maybe 20, then this it's a people business. You have to understand real estate. You have to understand real estate math. You have to be good in your people skills to be able to have a big list of people that trust you, and you have to continue to produce good returns for them over and over again, and that you hit your marks, and that they actually make the money that you say that they are going to make, or close to it. I mean, it's ultimately up to them, but if they exit at roughly that price that you said that they would, and their repairs were roughly what you said, they're going to continue to come back to you over and over again, especially if you got a pipeline of good deals. Well, it's no different on the self-storage side. If you've got a pipeline of good deals, you're analyzing it and showing them what the exit is, and you start doing this on a regular basis, and those folks are making money, like you said, and following your underwriting and your projections, they're going to continue to come back to you. So what's the incentive? Well, there's a lot more commas and zeros behind commercial real estate that you get paid for doing roughly the same amount of work than you do on the single family side. There's more to it, but as long as you do that, you get paid commensurate to what you're going to provide for them. Our students, as you mentioned, some of them are doing very well, 7 grand, 20 grand, wholesale on the minimum. Most of them are in the 50 to $100,000 range. So you do that,
Wait,
several
hold on.
times a year. Hmm.
Sorry, you said 50 to 100,000
Yeah, 50 to 100,000.
as a
Yeah,
wholesale fee.
as a wholesale fee. Hmm. Yep.
I think that's really worth pointing out.
In the rare case, we have seen folks a little higher than that, but that's on the extreme. But if we're talking about somebody's going to make $1 million on the back end, or $2 to $3 million for an opportunity that was presented off market, somebody may be willing to pay $50 to $100,000 in exchange for $3 million. That's not a bad return on your investment.
I would agree. I would agree. So, for those of you who are watching this who have some wholesaling experience under your belt, here's a bit of a challenge from yours truly to level up your game and consider learning how to evaluate and underwrite self-storage facilities, and your wholesale fee could actually be quite a bit higher.
Yeah, and I'll just add on top of that challenge, and that time is hot right now. I mean, the time is now. The market is extremely hot. There's a lot of money chasing self-storage right now, and we have a lot of private equity investors and partners, and more people coming to us because they view us as one of the best in the industry for doing just that. We match that private equity up with really strong deals that produce strong returns. But we have more equity right now. We have more money chasing fewer deals, and so yeah, if you're ready to step up and learn about the business, then go to selfstorageinvesting.com, pull down the resources, attend one of our virtual academies, live academies, understand how to underwrite and package these up, which is what we teach at those events, so that you can get in on this game and yeah, begin collecting those checks as a wholesaler or getting involved as a partner. But right now, to get into this game on the active side, if you are looking to do this and do the heavy lifting that it takes, you will be rewarded handsomely.
Excellent. Well, as always, Scott, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
All right, my pleasure, Roel. Looking forward to it. Take care.
You too. Thanks again for joining us here at Self Storage Investing. We really, really appreciate it. For more great content like this, make sure to click the subscribe button below this video. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Bigger Pockets. You can also visit us at our main website at selfstorageinvesting.com, where you'll find even more free content, our ebook, and registration to our free webinars and education courses, and much, much more. Once again, for more great content like this, please click the subscribe button below. Thank you.